Welcome everyone to the ninth GTM Kinetyca podcast. My name is David, I'm the CEO of Kinetyca, and I invite today Abhishek Ajith. He is the head of operations at SmartLead. And I'm really excited to hear what he can tell us about the sequencer landscape, the email sequencer landscape. As you all know, SmartLead is one of the big ones when it comes to email sequencing. So, hi Abhishek, how are you doing today?
Hi, David. Thank you so much for having me here. It's an absolute honor. I'm doing well. Excited to get started.
Great. Thank you very much for taking the time for this podcast. So let's start with the basics. Head of operations at SmartLead. What does the head of operations at SmartLead do day to day?
Um, yeah, that's an interesting one. I think in practice, I'm the generalist of the team. Any given week, I'll be across revenue, customer support, success, billing, product operations, vendors, and hiring. Uh, but for our conversation today, I think what advantage I have is the vantage point from where I sit. I get to see Outbound at scale, and I hope to get some new insights for folks listening in that maybe they might not be hearing from the outside today. So yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you are seeing quite a lot that is happening on the inside. How many emails per month is actually SmartLead sending out? This would be really interesting for me to know.
Oh, that's an interesting one. We are doing anywhere between, uh, I don't know, around 2 billion to 3 billion emails, if
Wow,
not more.
2 billion,
The
3
last
billion.
updated number, yeah, could be higher as well. Yeah.
Okay, so that's quite a lot. So I mean, it's really interesting. You really see then what's happening in the market, what works, what doesn't work, right? What do you think are actually the factors that determine most if cold email works for a company or not?
So I think for the longest time, cold email was seen as a volume game, right? If you wanted more meetings, you send out more mails. And traditionally, the tools were built around that. More mailboxes, more domains, more sends. I think that
Yeah.
era is over now. Sending's gotten cheap, effectively infinite, right? Effectively, AI writes your copies, so volumes have stopped being the differentiator. When everyone can send unlimited personalized emails, the scarce resource isn't the ability to send, but the ability to land. And for me personally, I think reputation is the new moat. So let's talk about 2026, right? I think the inflection point has happened because mailbox providers like Google or Outlook took what used to be best practices, such as authentication, low complaint rates, easy to unsubscribe, and they have turned them into enforced requirements. So if you're sending more than 5,000 messages a day to your users, you need to have your authentications in place. You need to have your SPF, DKIM, DMARC in place. You have to be spam compliant under about 0.3%. You need to offer the one-click unsubscribe. These enforcements from these mailbox providers now have teeth. Just to maybe put a number into perspective, from what we have seen, that senders who are compliant with these norms usually get about 89% inbox placements, whereas anybody who's non-compliant will see about anywhere between 30 to 34% of their mails landing directly in spam. That's a 3 to 7x penalty on the exact same list. So the constraints has moved. It's no longer about how much I can send, but it's about the reputation that I can earn and keep that reputation in place.
Yeah, very good point here. I mean, setting up the SPF, DKIM records, etc., like really correctly. I mean, this is something that I think every agency in the cold email space, has been advocating for years, basically. But now it's something that you really cannot go around anymore. What are other kind of practices that you use at SmartLead? On general, what do you think are important practices to make sure you land in the inbox?
So when we look at a huge range of senders, and I'll talk about the ones that usually land versus usually don't land, people talk a lot about copy, right? And copy, of course, is important, but I think from what I've seen, operational discipline is what differentiates the people landing in inbox versus people who don't, right? Uh, winners are getting the unglorious stuff right. They're getting their sending domains properly warmed up. They have a clean and verified list. Their volume matches the reputation that they have built. And of course, they have proper authentications in place as well. Usually, the people who are not doing well, they have a clever campaign sitting on top of a broken foundation, if I may say, right? And just to add to that one, and it still surprises me how many teams are getting this right, is that people start scaling for volume before they have the reputation to carry it. So, there are cases where people will buy fresh mailboxes on Monday and they're expecting to send thousands of mails by, let's say, Friday.
Really?
And
Do you still have people that do this? Like in these
of course,
agents? Wow.
of course,
Okay.
that's why it's still surprising that people are doing that. And, our mailbox providers are seeing them as exactly what they are. It's like a stranger
Yeah.
shouting in the dark. A cold domain is the cold domain, David. You cannot make it as a warm-up domain, and it is the fastest way to end up in spam.
Yeah, of
Yeah,
course, 100%. I mean, if you think about, I mean, every sophisticated GTM agency has like a very proper setup of how to scale up, how to warm up, how to increase the amount of send ups every day, right? So it's crazy to hear from me that there are really people that still like just say, okay, let's just send out thousands right away and see what happens. But maybe, I mean, this is the space has really changed because a few years ago, I remember there was a time where people even were like debating about the legality of cold email, if they really should do this, don't should do this, like in which places you can do this. And of course, it's like an important aspect, important question to ask yourself, right? And to know, okay, where do you need to have the unsubscribe link? Where do you need to have the address at the bottom, right? Like how do you have to set this all up? Like how well personalized does it have to be? Like all these things matter, 100%.
yeah,
But but what has really changed is that there was a time where people, like many people, were even afraid of doing that because of these questions, because they were not sure, well, can we actually do this? Like, isn't this like in a gray zone or something? And I think, I mean, nowadays basically everybody is sending cold email. I think it's not a question anymore. It's just really part of everyone's GTM motion. The question is
yeah,
just, okay, in what kind of quantity do you do this, right? If you have a big total addressable market, then very often they can have higher amounts. When you have a small total addressable market, then you have smaller amounts. But the thing is just the how do you do this, right? So, and this explains at the same time also that, well, since everybody's doing this now, that you have also many people that just say, okay, I just get, let me just get fast and instantly, smartly to our Apollo subscription or whatever, and just blast out, right? So, but it's interesting to hear because I really haven't thought that this is still happening like this. Yeah.
I think how sequences used to function traditionally as a tool have also changed, David, right? To your point, and what you correctly mentioned, people used to just buy a subscription from Smartlead, Apollo Clay, and they just start, blasting emails front, right, center. But now I think that mechanism is changing. That you can't go with the spray and pray strategy anymore, right? The new model is becoming signal based, and thanks to AI, of course, we all are using AI to a large extent. We are able to do the research that maybe a good sales rep would take a week to do in seconds. So when I say signals, I'm talking about not just sending an email on a Tuesday evening when you know somebody will open a mail, but rather sending an email when you know there is a signal from your customer. And by signal, I mean it could be a leadership change, it could be a new job posting that's coming, it could be a new technology they've adopted. So that personalization has gone to that level, and that's exactly what's going to help you land in the inbox for your customers, right? So because of this, obviously the sequences are being rebuilt. We at Smartlead, of course, we have introduced a lot of things in terms of, smart assistant. We have talked about how we help you guys set up, get those signals in. We are doing those things as well, right? We are, changing and adapting with how the market's moving ahead. And I think one more thing that I just want to maybe add before we move ahead is that scaling and scaling cleanly are two very different things. And I think it's high time people realize that. You can't just scale because you want to send 1,000 emails. You need to first have the infrastructure to scale to 1,000 emails. And that takes time. It's almost like a credit score. Like you have to take care of it like an asset. You have to ensure that you're building a credit score with time. And that's when you start, sending volume. it's pretty much the same thing over here as well.
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah, I mean, signals 2 years ago still a buzzword where everybody was using nowadays, like part also of everyone's play. What are the ones which you see performing the best?
In terms of signals,
Yeah, I
yeah,
mean,
I think,
just
yeah,
from your own experience.
I mean, it very difficult to put my finger onto one signal, David. What I've seen is people usually do a mix of. Uh, so let me break this down in two parts. One is signals that will show intent from your customer. That will depend on the industry and your target customer. For example, if I'm trying to reach out to somebody that's an HR agency, I'm looking for new job postings. I'm looking for new roles being opened over here. I'm looking for
Yeah,
interaction with different posts, right? Maybe if I'm trying to reach out to somebody, let's say in the construction business, the signals will be different. It depends who your target audience is. What people have started doing now is that they're layering signals on top of one another to drive intent. And when I say layering, it's not just cold email. They're looking at LinkedIn, they're looking at cold calling, and these things stacked together actually help you improve your response rate by almost 18 to 22%. So smart folks are doing that. They are actually layering signal intent by different channels, and that's how they identify and reach out. But very difficult to pinpoint to say that, hey man, this one signal is going to work out well. That depends from which industry and what who your target audience is.
of course. It depends very much on the industry and the setup that you have there. And the orchestration behind it makes also a big of a difference. I mean, one thing that we always do is, especially with companies that are like established, we have some evergreen campaigns, right? So the evergreens were, okay, let's take a look at your CRM. Let's take a look at all the movements of the people that you have had. I mean, that basically um, worked at the companies which you worked with in the past or right now working in at the moment. Let's take a look what they are doing, right? Let's analyze the social signals, analyze what they're doing, champions mover, close loss, right?
Yeah.
Analysis. Of course, we have website visitors, we have competitor followers, right? So these are ones that you look at very often. Um, there are other ones. I mean, like social media signals, for example. I think that there's a big hype around this. Like when people realized, oh, I can reach out to everyone that liked a specific post, and yeah, this is an interesting one for sure. But just because somebody likes a post doesn't mean that the person really wants to buy.
Of course,
Uh,
absolutely.
I mean, of course, you can say the same thing about all the other signals as well. But if somebody visits the page and goes to the pricing section, I mean, this is a much higher signal
That's a
that
very strong
somebody liked
signal.
the post. Right
Absolutely.
there.
Absolutely, David. And I think what you say is absolutely right. It's not individual signals, but a combination of signals looked together, which will help you, target your leads better. To your point, you can't just say that somebody liked my post. That's why they are interacting with it. Did they like the post? Did they click the CTA? Did they go to the landing page? Did they interact on the website page and they go to pricing page? That's a strong signal to work with. So it's always going to be a combination of multiple things. And of course, AI has made that very simple for all of us today, right?
Yeah. I like the setup that Clay has made here with GTM Alpha, right? It's like the term that they coined there, which is like a unique, completely unique set of signals that just work for your company. It actually like really um, um, make you distinguish yourself from the competitors. Like for example, a company has like a SOC 2 certification acquired in the
Yeah.
last 90 days, plus a champion has moved in the company, plus they have right now a specific thing that happened in the news, right? And then you use this
Yep.
combination of things and know, okay, these are like really good companies to target for me. But I think here it becomes complicated, right? This really requires like deep investigation, deep strategy, refinement in order to identify what is the right set of signals, because it's not the common one. Okay, let's take a look at what's going on the hiring side. Let's take a look at website visitors, etc. Right. So this is like really take goes on a much deeper level. But I love working on these cases. Like really love digging into this and figure out what is the GTM alpha of a specific company.
Absolutely. And I think it's going to be custom for everyone. Not every company, like you said, will have the same GTM alpha combination as well, right? What your requirements are, what your service is. Again, who are you offering it to? Or who is going to be your champion or decision maker? All these things will. I think previously there used to be, I think this is going to be a new version of ABM, account-based marketing that people used to do. Now this is just going to become like GTM Alpha is going to be the new set of signals that people are going to keep an eye out on.
Exactly. Another buzzword that we'll see over LinkedIn all the
Yeah,
time.
I'm sure. Absolutely. Yeah.
So, okay, so Smartly is evolving. You are putting signals into play. Deliverability is more and more an important one for you. I mean, the deliverability feature is something that I think you introduced already like beginning of last year or something like this. It was quite some time ago already. Um, how did it go since then, actually, when it comes to deliverability tracking? I mean, I remember actually this is an interesting one because I think you had the most complex kind of setup that I've seen in a sequencer. I mean, we used all different kinds of sequencers, email sequencers, but I've never seen it like so detailed. To be honest, some people also were struggling a little bit, like understanding all the different kind of
I get
knobs
that. Yeah.
and things that you had there. So would love to know how did it evolve then since then.
And it's not the first time I'm hearing this, David, where people have come back and said that smartly it can be a bit overwhelming to start off with. But we, the customers we kept in mind when we started off building Smart Lead was people who understand cold email, people who understand what are the levers to move around, people who want to tweak those small things, right? People who want to be in the detail. We give you that option to do it. I don't think any other platform lets you customize at the level that we do. And that has been a massive game changer for people who understand how to use this platform. Yes, we are actively working on, like I said, Smart Assistant is something that we have, recently released, which is essentially going to handhold you through the whole process. But let's say somebody like you who understands cold emailing to that depth, you understand your customers that well, and you want to maybe set up something very custom for customer A versus customer B. Smartly will let you do that. I don't think anybody else lets you do that to the level and to the extent that we let you do it, right? And I think that has been the reason that anybody who's sending at volume, who's sending at scale, has been and always stuck around with Smartly because they understand the value that having that kind of power within your reach has when you're trying to send emails. So yeah, I mean the journey has been very interesting. I think since last year, a lot of new things have come out, but I think I'm more interested to talk about what's on the horizon right now, what's going to come out. I think auto rotation has been something that has been loved by everyone. It used to be a big challenge for everyone to keep a track of your mailboxes, whether they're having the reputation, then you have to buy new ones, start warming them up. It's a whole operational exercise, and it's a bit of a pain for everyone to go through that whole thing. We have made that into one-click solution now. You don't have to worry about that. It's literally one click. We'll do the purchase for you. We'll do the warm up for you, and it's ready to use. And people are absolutely loving that, right? Smart Assistant has recently been in. I think it's been almost a month and a half, 2 months that we've introduced it, and you literally have to just go and talk to my assistant and be like, hey, I need to create a campaign for so and so, attach X number of mailboxes. This is the other campaign settings I want. Can you do it for me? Fuck, done. That's it. So, what used to take maybe a week of effort for you to do it is now literally 5 minutes worth of things. And that is not limited to just setting up campaigns. We are talking about writing copies. We are talking about analyzing your campaigns, not just setting them up. So I think the whole idea that we are building around is our users now focus on the thinking part of it. You focus on the strategy. You focus about what you want to do, and rest we'll just take care of it for you. You just literally type it in. If you use the voice to text, just speak it out, and we'll do it for you. And it's a 5 minute setup. So yeah, it's a very interesting space to be operating in, and I think the next month and a half, 2 months, it's going to be uh, for people who are using Smart Lead, I think you're just going to absolutely love it. And people who are not there yet, I'm sure you want to come and start using Smart Lead as well. It's going to be absolute game changer. What's coming down the line?
What is it that's coming down the line? What are some new things that you
Oh,
can open up about?
I think Smart Dialer is another thing that we have introduced. And we have realized that people who have been beta testing it, they're absolutely loving it. So it's
Yeah.
not like you have two independent systems where you have to first send a mail, get a response back, and then you start dialing. It's literally there inside the same interface. So your team's working out of a single platform now. And we have seen people come back with almost uh, if I remember correctly, a 9x improvement in meetings converted, not just meetings booked, by the way,
Because of
because
the
now
smart
they're
dialer.
able, because of Smart Dialer, because the
Yeah.
moment you get a positive response, your team's ready to give a call to them.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Automatically, your conversion rate goes up.
100%. I mean, like I was testing myself actually the feature as well with the smart dialer, and this is something that like whenever we have a client where they have the capacity to actually making calls, right? This is something that we include into the system and say, look, we can send out emails, LinkedIn, etc. But what is important is that you actually like really nurture these positives right now as
Yep.
fast as possible. And of course, if there is someone that really can make the call, the better. Really, this is much better there, and Smartly has set up the functionality directly into this. I find it really interesting to see how technology is getting more and more commoditized, and actually technology is getting more and more evened out, right? And you can see this all across the space actually. When we think about clay, for example, right? Like when clay has become like really big, I mean, you really needed people that are specialized in this, right? I mean, the learning curve is like very high, right? I mean,
Yeah.
it's still high, and you have it, of course, in all these different tools. And the thing is, I mean, right now, we see this everywhere that GTM agencies and tools say, hey, just tell us this is the email that you want to write. Just tell us this is the post that you want to do. And everything gets automatically done either via Claude system or inside the tool or whatever kind of setup you have there. And then it runs on its own. And I think the interesting part here is that, it's not about anymore how to use the tool, how to figure out where are the dials and all this, because yes, AI can do this, but actually the strategy has become more and more and more the differentiator. Actually, you have to really know what actually makes sense, because it's not about can I use clay or can't I use clay. Yes, you can figure this out, with AI, also with the CLI, for example, right now. But there, the strategy has become more and more the differentiator, and yeah, I mean, exciting where it's going. I mean, my question is sometimes like we are thinking with people like, how is it like, how will this be like in a few years right now? I mean, will this all just disappear because basically AI can just do everything on its own? I mean, there are like two camps here, right? It's like on the one side they say yes, because you don't need all of these tools anymore. Everything just goes on its own. You just chat it in. And on the other side, you have people that believe, well, the need for experts will be even more and more and more. Where do you sit on this scale, Abhishek?
So, very interesting question, right? Both of them. Um, the first part where people are started just using your CLI or API, public API endpoints to operate all your tools via Claude, we have seen that happen, right? I think Smartlead as a tool has always been API first. We have the most number of public APIs among all the sequences. So obviously our customers were the first one to start doing that. And yeah, it's interesting that people don't really interact with the UI anymore. They just do it via the Claude and they're just hammering campaigns right now. But that said, I think you cannot replace the experts, David. You have to understand that it is a very technical space that keeps evolving every week, right? If not faster. And it's not going to be that simple to always stay on top of these things, and that is why there are specialists. Let's say, like a specialist like you exists because you do this full time. You know what's happening in the market. You know what's changing. You know you are one of the best in terms of understanding why something needs to be done today. People might get that. They might get that in a month or two, but by then it might just be too late to get there. But folks like we have our experts as well this is our bread and butter. And as long as this industry is, while it's evolving, AI is getting making things simpler. This, like I said before, the strategy remains with us. It will just help us execute better. It will just remove the glass ceiling, so to speak, in terms of what a person can do. But we need a thinking man behind us. It is not AI is not replacing the operator at all. The
Yeah.
operator has to be there, right? So yeah, I don't think there's going to be a market where the experts are not needed. I don't think that's going to happen. The experts are have a place. They are where they are because they know how the market is moving forward. They are able to react. They don't just react to a change. They are proactively evolving in terms of how they see the markets changing. And I think that's a big differentiator. So I think while AI and all these tools will help you work faster, scale better, uh, we need a thinking operator behind it, and that's where the experts will are here to stay for a long.
So I believe that as well. You always will need the experts actually that are able to make the difference. And it's simply because how AI works, right? AI can give you great ideas, can give you great insights, but it's always like average. It's not able to give you like really the edge in something because AI by itself, the way how it works, cannot be like really completely creative, right? And the thing is, so when you're in sales and marketing and you want to become better than your competitors, you really want to reach the market in a different way, you need to get there. You need to get to the edge. And then of course, I mean, the best way to do that is to do it alongside with the innovators, with the ones that are like really pushing the
Yeah.
boundaries in the market that you are at, for sure. So yes, this space is evolving extremely fast right now. Um, where do you think it might be going in a few years? I mean, like things in the horizon right now that people cannot even see,
Yeah.
that they cannot even think about. Like, what are your predictions? Like, what might we see like in a few years from now?
Yeah, I think few years might be a stretch, David. I think maybe I can
Yeah.
foresee what might happen in 12 to 18 months. I wish I could see what's happening few years down the line, but a few things, there are actually three things I think which are going to change in the next 12 to 18 months, right? Firstly, I think deliverability is going to get even more consolidated and it's going to become reputation driven, right? Like I said, the mailbox providers keep tightening their rules and sending reputation, like I previously mentioned, is going to become like an asset. You're going to have to maintain it like your credit score, man. It's going to be as simple as that, right? I think outbounds, the second point, I think outbound is going to start moving towards signals, where the winning teams will send more better targeted emails to the people with the real, like, to the correct list with by identifying the real intent. That's how it's going to work. And spray and play, spray and play strategy, players who are doing that, they're just going to get filtered into oblivion. Uh, and thirdly, I think AI becomes the default layer of everything that's underneath over here, not as a gimmick, but quietly doing the research, timing, personalization. So we as individuals can start focusing on the strategy and the relationship side of it. So if I had to maybe, condense this into one line per se, it would be that volume will drive the strategy, reputation and relevance will win. And tooling will get smart enough that it keeps that, you know, that doing it right becomes easier than doing it wrong. That's how I would position this.
Yes, very good points here. So one thing that I would love to know actually here at the end of the podcast is right now, if somebody is doing right now outbound and if they are struggling with actually getting result, what would you say is the number one thing that they should do in order to improve their results?
Ooh, that's an interesting one. I don't think it's one thing, but I can actually try to break this down, maybe, David. First thing first, fix your foundation, guys. Get your SPF, DKIM right. Warm up every sending domain before you touch volume. And that alone will put you ahead of most of the market. Second, I think shift your target to relevance. Send more targeted emails. Trigger them, basis maybe the signals you're getting in. Don't just blast a giant list. And thirdly, I think treat deliverability as a metric you watch continuously and not as a one-time setup. None of it is clever, I know, and that's exactly the point. the teams that are winning Outbound in 2026, from what we are seeing, are not just the most creative ones, but the ones that are most disciplined. So if you have the discipline, I think you're good to go.
Disciplined on the foundations, 100%. Every day looking at the right knobs
Yep.
that you have to change and adapt, and you continuously just get there to improve the results. Fantastic, Abhishek. So thank you very much for your insights. I hope for everyone out there this was interesting, that people in the GTM space or that are interested in the GTM space could learn something. So yeah, thank you very much for having you.
Thank you, David. It was a pleasure being here. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And for the viewers out there, if you like this one, take a look at the other ones as well. Here we have a lot of interesting podcasts here on all different kind of topics around GTM. And take a look at our website and on LinkedIn what we cook there as well. Thanks, all the best. Ciao, ciao.